Last night, on top of this extinct volcano, we had an intense electric storm, so we were exposed to plenty of EVOs. It's an extremely rich and lush tropical environment here. All that charged rain helping everything to grow so quickly. My friend has some puppies. Oh, new life. The house entrance has this wonderful temple door with this little portal here where key would go in. Stunning detail. The inside of the house has a temple feel. And it has some sculptures that are done by a famous temple artist who's sadly departed, but it can show the almost multi-entity, multi-spirit creatures they seem to like here. So what have we got here? We've got some sort of bird, and we've got some warthog's teeth here, and then we've got an elephant's trunk here, and these are lion's hands. And down here, yeah, more lion's feet. And there's some sort of female laying down at the base. What you're looking at here is the mesh that's on the front of a typical microwave. So here's a microwave, and what that mesh is doing is when the microwaves are on the inside, warming your food and trying to, make it cooked, it can't come through that mesh that's behind this glass because the waves can't go through these holes. You can see through them, but the microwaves can't come out. And it's kind of like a Faraday cage. Now, if you imagine that you had a microwave gun outside of the microwave, then the safest place to be is actually in the microwave, because the magnetron that was faced out here wouldn't get you the same way it doesn't get us when we're outside of the microwave. It's sometimes funny seeing all of these embossed and so forth sculptures of Buddhas with sort of metal hats on, spiky metal hats. Why would they do that? Anyway, so if we accept that we can see excess heat from Lena reactions and that there is no commensurate radiation, the powers that be would tell you that this is because you're not actually seeing any effect, and therefore it's bunkum. But what if it is producing no radiation? Well, Kenneth Shoulders says that it's producing no radiation because the EVOs are effectively preventing the radiation from coming out, or dissipating it, or converting it into something else. And if that's the case, and we know from Hutchinson's work that we can store EVOs, and from Ken Shoulders' work that we can store EVOs in metals, and one could say that if we had some gold metal, we had that maybe in a form of fine sheeting, we could make that to protect ourselves from radiation. Kind of like we have clothing that makes us be inside a microwave oven, except in this case it's nuclear radiation on the outside. So rather than building a scorpion that takes 7 years and is unable to withstand more than 2 hours of radiation exposure in Fukushima Reactor 3, perhaps we could create a coating that was then protected by a polymer layer, where, say, gold or another good material for storing EVOs was effectively stopping any radiation from damaging the scorpion. Of course, the fabric could effectively cover yourself so that you could have an anti-radiation suit. And this lets me think, well, maybe that would explain why Arabs, you know, high-end Arabs, they will have gold-plated rooms without really realizing why, and why you have temples like Amritsar, which are gold, and why the Buddhists would coat their sculptures that would otherwise be destroyed if they were rock by EVOs. They would coat them with gold leaf. Kind of leads me to believe that these bunkers that people are building might have some EVO protection, and that they are very happy to create a nuclear war, because what people don't realize is that the nuclear weapons they have now are not the nuclear weapons you saw in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The nuclear weapons they have now, thank God they're not, because as Stoyan Sarg says, if you use 2 conventional nuclear weapons at one time, it will produce vortexes. He's done the calculation, and it will kill the planet dead as it pulls the atmosphere away from the planet, and then the water evaporates. And he says this is what happened to Mars. And so now I think they've learnt. They have these new type of weapons that produce incredibly intense gamma pulses, and also EMP, so it knocks out all communication, all like humans would die from the gamma radiation. But of course, we know the EVO is extremely good at stopping the gamma radiation coming out of a nuclear event. So it would also be very good at stopping the gamma radiation coming from in the nuclear event. And if you did it well, you could get rid of the humans and leave an inhabitable place to move back into. So for me, if Trump is actually aware of this, it would explain why his Trump Tower apartment is basically a big piece of gold leaf, and why perhaps he doesn't want his family in the White House on a daily basis. Curiouser and curiouser. We need to audit the gold reserves, not just in the Fed or Fort Knox, but across the world.